We are able to figure out what the most receptive people in the electorate are and target them based on gun violence message, he said. We're disrupting this idea that has been perpetrated by the gun lobby and the media for far too long, that you support gun violence legislation at your own political peril. Third, ARS uses digital to show that groups traditionally thought as strongly pro-gun veterans, for example, are the most monolithic in their views. Again, targeting and analytics have been important and has been signing up 6,000 people for Veterans for Responsible Solutions movement. And fourth, ARS uses social media to give supporters insight into daily lives of its founders, Giffords, and her husband, Mark Kelly, a direct communication channel rather than having to rely on traditional media outlets. Watts talked about how moms demand action for gun sense in America. MDAGSA uses digital technology and social media to build its movement. When you talk about digital organizing, who better to do this than moms? We are a major media presence, she said. For us, email, Twitter, Facebook has become a major way to organize. MDAGSA's first digital campaign pitted in organizations against Starbucks, pushing the company to change its policy against guns being allowed in the stores. The campaign includes Skip Starbucks Saturdays, encouraging mothers to make coffee at home, then take photos of themselves drinking outside the Starbucks outlets, sharing them on social media. They were also asked to share photos of people carrying guns in Starbucks. Good grief. This is what happened. This is what's happening, and we made that public. It really just took 3 months and Starbucks changed their policy, saying guns were no longer welcome in their stores, she said. A month ago, MDAGSA started a new campaign asking Facebook and Instagram to crack down on people using social media to promote their willingness to sell guns or help people evade the law. The campaign includes spoofing Facebook's look-back videos to highlight groups on the social network advertising for gun sales, as well as personal status updates boasting about not requiring background checks. The video has been watched more than 400,000 times and it sparked action quickly. Last week, Facebook and Instagram announced 9 new policies that they were putting in place in response to our campaign. She said, "We are going to continue this. We are only 15 months old and we had major wins, but obviously there's a lot more work to do." She suggested that traditional NRA strategy of stimulating fear among its members that their guns will be taken away by the government can be matched by mothers' fear that their children will be taken away, killed in shootings. At the end of the day, that emotion that will enable us to go toe to toe with the gun lobby, and achieve change quickly. She said social media will continue to be a key way MDAGSA's members express this emotion. Glaze said that the MAIG now has grassroots membership of 1.5 million people across the United States and is now working with like-minded organizations to make the best use of it and continue growing. Ambler returned to the theme of digital's capacity to target and measure and then raise money, citing the example of gun control bill that failed after the filibuster in the U.S. Senate. In just 30 minutes after the filibuster occurred and the bill went down, we raised $100,000 from 282,822 people, he said. 48 hours as more people learned about what happened and learned that the Senate had continued to be in the gun lobby's pockets, we raised nearly $1 million from 22,000 people. For a large part that we raised was online, from getting more people angry, going online and pitching in a couple bucks. Watts said that MDAGSA is less focused on funding and more about keeping its members active. It is not just about liking on Facebook, she said. It has focused on creating a social media network where members will get involved in email, Twitter campaigns regularly, as well as calling them members of Congress. If we need people to turn out at a state house, we can get them to do that. If we need them to testify, we can get them to do that. If we need them to bombard the emails and calls, we can do that. She said moms do social media more than anybody else, and it's a logical place to get people activate online, but it doesn't mean much if you can get them activated offline. I just find it's pretty unusual. Not fascinated. I like these little tricks here when they say about tens of millions of members in the NRA. Last time I checked, it was like really roughly like 3 million members on the National Rifle Association, and of course he got nanny man Michael Bloomberg, Mayor Against Illegal Guns. There were 50 mayors actually withdrew from the organization because it was proven, they testified themselves, that the whole goal for them is to seize firearms completely. And I do find that not surprised at all, because you always gotta observe the opposition very thoroughly, especially when they throw in these little I will say magic words, power words. Gun violence, gun violence, gun violence. It should be violent crime. And of course they want to use Sandy Hook again. And there was even a lot of reports that the whole thing may be partially staged, allegedly. But there are a lot of holes in that. And in addition, and the Sandy Hook High School in Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newton, Connecticut, was considered to be a firearm-free zone. And if these mothers in these organizations should be more focused on violent crime rather than gun violence, because it's scapegoating and still technically biased. And when they talk about the whole Starbucks ordeal, and I see cops in their firearms, they're allowed in there. And I know people in there who carry it concealed, they go there too. The whole thing with the policy is like, made a good point. When you got a lot of these people like strutting around with their firearms, and it's like a bunch of fashion, like there are some fashion models. I find out ludicrous too, and I'm not the only one, because even Mark Walters and, if I'm correct, Bill Frady, they're both they have their talk shows, Lock and Loaded, Bill Frady, and American Armed Radio by Mark Walters. They say the same thing. That's totally ridiculous. When people carry, they have to have a higher standard, a responsible standard. And what's really fun about this organization, these the three amigos, I'll probably call them, the three tyrants, I could say that. When it's about, take photos of people that carry guns in Starbucks. You're trying to say they're criminals? Nah, it's ridiculous. But one thing about these organizations, they have to really be very leery. There's a plenty of ways of doing things. However, these three organizations I don't really associate with, because they're very unidimensional. It's like neocons, very unidimensional. Get rid of this, it will be done. Well, they tried to do it with alcohol, the 18th Amendment. Didn't work out at all. Who benefited? Criminals and corrupt governments. If you're going to take away people's right to bear arms, or their right to sell, the tools to defend themselves and their families, criminals and corrupt governments will benefit. They say 11,000 people get shot or killed because of firearms in the United States, which is very morose, don't get me wrong. But if you're going to compare, people used 2.5 million cases average in the United States to use it to protect themselves, their families, strangers, property, etc. What odds do you want? That's a question I have for my listeners. I always said, yes, I do support 1020 life. If you're gonna use a firearm for criminal intent or any other weapon, yeah, you deserve harsher sentences. I'm not gonna defend it at all. The problem is with these particular organizations, they compress everything and try to use those hypnotized words. It's a very traditional concept. Even Ed Bernays, who wrote the book Propaganda, addressed it. I recommend everyone should check out that book. Very interesting. And then you can understand the patterns. Same thing, different package. And that's really it. I'm going to call it a day. And all you folks, you can hit me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, middle fingers, love me, hate me. Send me good information too while you're at it. I like to have an honorable discussion. And as always, my friends, demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate societies. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.